Welcome back. It's time for the 11th episode of Avril Crump and Her Amazing Clones, published by Orchard Books, an imprint of Scholastic. And when we left off, Eddie had gone to school because Boney had gone shopping, and the police came and she told them the story about how she was an orphan, and so they've got her enrolled at school, and the teacher is going to put on a play and is looking for someone to play one last part. Also, she has made friends with a boy named Wilfred, who had been bullied really badly. So, let's see. So then Boney and Augustus come to visit her, and they're at the window, and Boney's got stew and all of that stuff. So the teacher has noticed Augustus and Boney. It did not take long for Eddie to conclude that Miss Dougal was an exceptionally stupid woman. Not only had she written a horrible musical, she also thought Augustus was wonderful. Such an intelligent dog, and what an actor! The pathos in his eyes, the emotion in his every entrance and exit. If only he could talk. See, Augustus whispered to Eddie as he sauntered off the school auditorium stage and into the wings to a storm of applause from Miss Dougal. Someone appreciates me. Shut up, Eddie hissed back. If anyone hears you talking, we're finished. And in case you've forgotten, Boney's a wanted man. We have to keep a low profile. What were you thinking coming to school like this? You ruined everything for me, Augustus. I was trying to fit in. Augustus yawned. You're just jealous because you're backstage and I'm the star. Now, do you mind? I have work to do. Work? I have to find my character. Augustus sank onto a ramshackle chaise lounge. It's not easy playing a cat, you know. Don't see why, you're all animals. Eddie stomped off into the darkened auditorium, nearly tripping on one of the ridiculous piles of turnips that was part of the scenery. Wilfred waved her over from the front row of chairs. Haven't you got a part in the play? Eddie asked as she sat down. My father won't let me act in plays. He says they're a waste of time. He thinks everything's a waste of time except math. Wilfred's voice was deliberately casual as he busied himself with his props list. He makes me to do math on summer vacation. It's my best subject now, but it just makes everyone hate me. What about your mom? She ran off to join the circus. She's a lion tamer now. A lion tamer? Wilfred shrugged. She said it would be relaxing compared to living with my dad. I get a postcard sometimes. Wilfred, are you sure you want to be my friend? I mean, I don't want them to pick on you because of me, saying I'm your girlfriend and all that stuff. Freddie and Eddie, Wilfred sang, and grinned at her for the first time. His smile was very wide and goofy. It's no worse than any of the other stuff they say, and I've always wanted a friend. I've been used to wish I could swap my dad for one. He can't be that bad, Eddie said. At least you've got a dad, someone to tell you what to do, someone to take care of you and make you feel wanted. Wilfred blinked at her through his shiny lenses. Don't you have parents, Eddie? Not exactly, she said, and for a moment she could see Avril's smiling face. Not parents. I had someone, but I lost her. Well, Wilfred said, I think you're lucky with just your uncle and his dog. Suddenly, Eddie wanted to tell him everything. Wilfred, can you keep a secret? A secret? Of course Miss Eddie, Bonaparte cried, sinking into the seat beside her. I am all a tremble. Mistress Dougal hath commanded me to appear in the play. Eddie buried her face in her hands. Boney, no. She did think I would make a convincing elderly toothless yokel. And Miss Eddie, I even have yon line to speak. Or, he tried it out again with more vigor. Or, but There was suddenly a loud exclamation from the front of the hall. "This won't do at all!" It was Miss Dougal, staring up at the stage where the children playing country bumpkins hung around picking their noses and scowling. "Something is missing. Augustus! Where are you, precious?" Augustus smiled down at Eddie as he sauntered on stage. "Props, we need something for dear Augustus to make a big entrance in. Perhaps some kind of chariot." Eddie saw Augustus's eyes light up as Miss Dougal gazed into the distance. A solo spotlight following him, bumpkins cheering. "I'll make a chariot," Wilfred interrupted excitedly. "Me and Eddie can do it this afternoon." "We can? I'm going to design racing cars when I'm older," he whispered, pushing up his glasses on his nose. "Making a chariot will be a piece of cake." "Thank you, Wilfred," said Miss Dougal. Just as the lunch bell rang, she blew a kiss at Augustus, and then, above the noise of stampeding bumpkins, she called to Wilfred and Eddie, "Follow me. I'm sure you can cobble together a sweet little chariot out of some old roller skates and a cardboard box or two, some gold paint, that sort of thing." Wilfred turned to Eddie. "Coming?" "You go. I'll catch up with you." Then she was alone with Augustus and Bonaparte. Augustus glared at her. "I don't want a chariot made out of spare wheels and crummy cardboard. I shall be giving serious consideration to the matter of my continued presence in this play." "Oh, Mr. Dog, dost thou think perchance that I could rewrite the scene to thy satisfaction?" "Look, you two," Eddie snapped. "You're not going to be in this stupid play. Lionel is going to arrive any minute, then we'll be out of here. Otherwise," she thought, "we're in real trouble." Chapter 11 is called Cellmates. 5 minutes into her enforced room share with Dr. Weatherby, Avril couldn't stand the howling any longer. "Oh, Raymond, please shut up," she snapped. "I'm frightened." Dr. Weatherby clutched his briefcase like a teddy bear. "And I'm never going to get on the board of directors now, not if I'm associated with Blute. I gave his spy the job, for heaven's sakes. I was the one who employed Dr. Seducta." "Raymond, this is no time to be thinking of your career. If we don't get out of here, we're toast." Dr. Weatherby began to bawl like a baby. Avril was finding him to be thoroughly aggravating. It was his fault the clones had run away, and his fault she had been kidnapped by Gideon, but she would need his help to escape, so she calmed her temper. "Oh, come on. There's no need to get upset. We'll find a way out. And once we've found the clones, the management will never know you were involved. But now that we're stuck here together, we might as well try to get along. It'll make our escape plans a lot easier. Deal?" Dr. Weatherby stopped sobbing and looked at her like she was an especially stinky piece of cheese. "Deal," he hiccuped. "Okay. We're both highly qualified scientists, problem solvers. How hard can a little escape plan be?" She cast a determined eye over the room. "There must be some way out." Several hours later, Avril was forced to concede that there was not. There were no windows, no hidden passageways, no cat flaps, although Avril thought fondly of Auntie Primula, who made sure every room in her house had several cat flaps. "Okay," she said through gritted teeth, "let's recap. We've got the pretend to be sick, then wait for someone to open the door, and then improvise option. We've got the shout fire, then wait until someone opens the door, and then improvise option. And finally, there's the loudly threaten legal action, then wait until someone opens the door, and then improvise option." "I still like the last one." Dr. Weatherby was sulking. "Raymond, I'm just a little worried about this improvising thing. Is there anything in your briefcase we could use? Something to pick the lock?" "No!" Dr. Weatherby gripped his briefcase. "There's nothing in here." "Not even a letter opener or—" "Listen, you pug-faced old bat. I know what I'm talking about." "Hey!" Avril spoke before she could stop herself. "Don't call me names, Raymond." She pointed a finger at him. "I won't put up with it." Dr. Weatherby pushed her finger away. "Oh, Don't be so silly. It's not silly. It's. Avril realized she was shaking, and she was amazed at her reaction to Dr. Weatherby's customary taunts. Just don't do it again, she squeaked, her confidence vanishing as fast as it had appeared. That's all. Dr. Weatherby ignored her. I think that loudly threatening legal action is our best chance, unless you have any other suggestions. A few silent prayers, perhaps, a little light incantation. He gestured at the still full tea tray. Eat our way through all that and then vomit our way out. Avril had completely forgotten about the tea tray. Sticky buns. Dear God, this was the last straw for Dr. Weatherby. Sticky buns? This is life and death, woman. Can you think of nothing but baked goods? Avril grabbed the largest, stickiest bun from the plate and tore off a hunk. She rolled it up into a squishy ball and passed it back and forth between her palms. She was thinking hard. It might just work, she muttered. She marched up to Dr. Weatherby and thrust the gooey mess at him. See how sticky this is? Dr. Weatherby looked at it in disgust. Avril popped the remainder of the bun into her mouth. Here's my plan. I saw this in a movie once. They used chewing gum, but I think this will do. We get that big bruiser to come back in here. You have to distract him while I stick this piece of bun in the lock. It will be sticky enough to stop the door from locking completely when he leaves, but soft enough that they won't notice. Hopefully. Hopefully? Dr. Weatherby sneered. How scientific of you. All right, then. We'll give it a try. Pathetic as it is. Avril moved to the door. Let's get him in here. By loudly threatening legal action? Dr. Weatherby was suddenly eager. If you must. It had to work, Avril thought, and it had to work fast. And my lawyers are not men to be trifled with. They want £1 million in damages for the woman who was terminally traumatized by the over-trimming of her pampered pet poodle. They'll have your guts for violin strings and your spleens for throw pillows. Panting and purple-faced, Dr. Weatherby turned to Avril, who was still positioned beside the door. Oh, this is hopeless. I've been loudly threatening legal action for almost an hour. I don't even have a lawyer, for heaven's sake. Keep going just a little longer. I'm sure it's starting to get to him. It was certainly starting to get to her. Dr. Weatherby grimaced and took a deep breath. They take their wives to court if their oatmeal isn't hot enough in the morning. The door opened. The cauliflower-eared guard entered. So, Dr. Weatherby boomed, finally took our threats seriously, did you? The guard looked amused. Threats? The door's soundproofed. Anyway, you're here now, Avril said, noticing that Dr. Weatherby was about to explode. And I think Dr. Weatherby has something he wants to say. Raymond? Can't be bothered now. Oh, come on. I'm sure there was something. No. Just taking the tray, the security guard picked up the almost empty tea tray. Oh, how kind, Avril said. Perhaps you would like to comment on the standard of the refreshments, Raymond? Don't care. Avril summoned up her most deathly stare and directed it right between Dr. Weatherby's eyes. What? He snapped at her. Are you constipated or something? Then he sighed. Oh, all right then. He turned to their visitor. This is appalling. It's been hours since we had a tea. Where's our dinner? Avril rolled the ball of cake between her fingers and reached out for the door handle. As quietly as possible, she opened the door an inch and felt for the lock. There will be repercussions, I can assure you. She pressed the sticky ball into the lock, hardly daring to breathe. It stayed put. Not my problem, pal, the guard grinned. Your troubles will be over anyway, as soon as we take you to room 237. For the second time that day, Dr. Weatherby burst into noisy tears. This enabled Avril to shut the door again without being heard. Thank you so much for visiting. She strode cheerfully toward the guard and surreptitiously pilfered the last remaining sandwich. Well, you'd better be getting back to your work. We'll be all right without you. Sniggering at Dr. Weatherby's sobs, the guard turned to leave. He pulled the heavy door shut. Good one, Raymond. Avril clapped him hard on the back. That loud sobbing was perfect. I don't want to die, he wailed. Oh, you're really crying, Avril sighed. Pull yourself together, Raymond. She went to the door and tried the handle. At first it didn't budge. She pulled it a little harder. With a gentle creak, it opened. Dr. Weatherby rubbed his eyes. It actually worked? Yes, of course. Now let's get out of here. We have to find those clones before Dr. Seducta does. That's all for tonight. Thanks for listening. Bye.